But welcome back to Thanks for Asking, the call-in show where we talk about what matters to you. But first, we endure 17 to 30 minutes of technical difficulties that are deeply frustrating because when you are living in a world where everything is out of your control, and are really kind of just like holding on by the edge, you will be pushed over the edge by something inconsequential that literally will not matter when we die. So today we have a few calls. Thank you for everybody who texted me to say that the stream sucks and you are hearing 900 versions of me. Who knows why that would happen? None of my business. And maybe it's this. I might have solved it. I might have not. And I can't see the chat still, so that's cool. So I don't know how to see if you're like leaving chats. So, cool. Okay. Well, I won't be able to see your chats. So that's also great. Stares into the abyss. Okay, where were we? I was in Charlotte, then I was in Minneapolis, met a hot priest, didn't meet him, just got communion from him and possibly also became Catholic again. It was that powerful. So now I'm going to call back the caller who called when things were bad. If this doesn't work, I will lose it.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can't hear it. I'm going to cry. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. 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 Why is that happening?
Connecting.
Okay, we're going to try again. All right, hello?
Hi, can you hear me? Oh my goodness.
I'm going to lose it. Why is this not happening?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Nora, can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me?
Oh my God, everything's the worst. Oh my God, how did this work forever and now it's not working today? Kill me. Oh, I know. I can't hear you though. I don't know why it's not happening. Oh boy, cool. Okay, I don't know why. Okay. I'm gonna turn my phone off and then on and hope that that clears it up. Okay. I'm going to try it a little differently and see if I can do it this way. We're going to test some technology on the fly, and it's important to know that I'm stupid. So thank you for your patience. Okay. Okay. to see if this works. And I can't see the chat, unfortunately, so I'm going to need somebody to text me and tell me if it's working. Okay.
Connecting.
Now it's ringing, but I don't know where that sound is coming from. I think we solved it. Can you guys hear that ringing? Hold on. Don't hang up. I'm going to answer. Got to find the window that it was in. Okay. Please tell me you guys can hear that, or I'm going to jump out a window.
Hello?
Hi, it's Nora, and you tried to call me 900 times. I'm sorry. Everything's the worst. Are you also just like on the edge, and one small technical difficulty is just going to fully crack you down the middle? Because that's where I'm at mentally. It's not a good place to be. It's not. But that's where I am.
Well, I am. Yeah. Everything is fine, though. Everything is fine, you know?
I think so too. I think most things are actually really, really good and everything's okay. Is that why you were calling? Because everything's really good?
Yes.
Good. Well, where are you calling from?
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay, good. Yes, I can.
Okay.
I'm actually sitting in my car outside of Planet Fitness because I just got done working out.
Good job.
Yeah, I know. Just walked on the treadmill for 40 minutes. Felt great. And yeah, I'm in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Okay.
Pittsburgh.
How are you doing in Pittsburgh? Because what I learned about Pittsburgh is that I think it's some of the nicest people in the world, but also you guys have less sunshine than anywhere else in the United States.
Yes. Compared to some of the other cities that I've lived in, like Charleston, South Carolina, and Austin, Texas, where the weather is nice, I would say Pittsburgh is kind of a hard city. Like, you have to have thick skin.
Ooh.
People are nice, but I don't know. It's definitely a hard city.
Is it because it's kind of one of those cities where people live in forever? Like they're born, married, buried all in one city?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how long have you been in Pittsburgh?
I've been here for about 4 years. Yeah. So I grew up in Wheeling, West Virginia, which is about an hour. Yeah, it's an hour from Pittsburgh. And Wheeling, is such a small town. We didn't have like malls or, attractions or things to do growing up. So we would always come to Pittsburgh. So it kind of feels like home.
Yeah. I think an hour away, I would consider Wheeling to be kind of like a suburb of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
An hour away from like a big city. Like the closest big city is your big city.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what do you do what's your life like in Pittsburgh?
Oh, my life in Pittsburgh. I don't know. It's different. I work out a lot. Okay, I do a lot of that. There are actually a lot of like outdoorsy things to do here. I live near the Allegheny River, so I walk along the river a lot.
There's a lot of walking is kind of a theme for today.
Yes. Yeah. And I also live in a neighborhood where you can walk to like a grocery store, coffee shop, stores. So
that's awesome.
I love that. Yeah. I don't love driving so much. So
Well, good.
yeah.
It's good to it's good to be in a place then where you're where you don't have to. Where you don't
Right.
have to. Okay.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you did send a text and said that you
hmm
were you wanted to talk about like early sobriety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in early sobriety. I have about 9 months sober. And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to talk about going to social events as a newly sober person.
Ooh, yeah.
Um, yeah, because, before I got sober, I was definitely drinking at every social event that I went to.
Yeah.
So it's a brand new feeling to go to these events and just not really have any lubricant. Like, you're so
Yeah.
raw and vulnerable. But I can count on one hand the amount of events that I've been to since I've been sober, but they have just been so much more meaningful. And I remember all the conversations I've had.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have developed better friendships with people. I feel great the next day. But it's definitely a little overwhelming at first.
What was the first
You know,
one? What was the first event that you went to sober?
yeah, I think it was like maybe the day after Thanksgiving. And I mean, it wasn't like a planned event. It was just, the day after Thanksgiving, I was home. A lot of family was in town. And we went to a bar, and I met up with a lot of my family members, aunts, cousins, and my sister was there, and she's pregnant, so it really helped having a buddy who wasn't drinking. Which that
How,
is.
can I ask, like,
Extremely
how
helpful.
old
Yeah,
are you?
I am 42.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I don't drink, like I wouldn't call myself sober, but
hmm
like, I like probably like have a drink like
hmm
like once or twice a year. Not very often. Not very
Right.
often.
Yeah.
But I went through periods of like not drinking when I was younger, like especially in
hmm
college and
Uh-huh.
or like right after college, and people were so weird about it.
Yeah.
Like took my not drinking as having anything to do with them, and I would feel like
hmm
pressured, or I would feel like really like I was sticking out.
Yeah.
Is it easier as you get older? Like for me now, I don't think anybody like even notices, or if they do, like it just doesn't feel like a thing, or maybe I'm just older so I don't care, but it
Yeah.
was something that I was like kind of insecure about almost.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I had gotten sober in college, it would definitely be a bigger topic. I mean, I remember the few people I went to college with that were sober. It's like it wasn't the norm.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, no one asks me. No one, like, I don't think anyone cares. Um, and with like NA drinks, I'll have an NA beer, and you kind of just look like you're fitting
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
So,
now they have like good like mocktails that don't just feel like you're
oh my
drinking
gosh,
like a Shirley Temple or something,
yes,
and they don't give
I
it to you
know.
in like a soda glass anymore, where it's like extremely obvious that you're not drinking, which always, I
Right.
remember like ordering just a club soda, and it would
hmm
be like in a giant cup. I'm like, well, now people know, like
Yeah, it's like
like
I'm not drinking a giant vodka soda,
yes,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
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 but yeah, I just think it's more socially acceptable, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, to be sober.
Yeah. Are there still
hmm
times where, like, I mean, you said you can count on like one hand the number of like
Yeah.
social events you've been to. So why
Yes.
do you think that is? Is it just still uncomfortable? Do you still feel raw?
Yeah, I mean, I feel raw, but I also feel like if I am around everyone who's drinking, like like, I want to join in on the fun. Like, I don't want to, be left out, because it was such a huge piece of, like, connection for me. Like, I built friendships, like, through having drinks, after work or at work, working in advertising. So, but, just over the last 9 months, I've learned so much. And, I know that I can have better connections, not drinking. So, yeah.
But it's funny to say, like, you still sort of feel like left out, which I can understand that, right? Because it's like you can kind of see, and because I very, very rarely drink. Like, you can kind of see when, like, everyone else is kind of, like, leaving the station mentally.
Yes.
You know, and you're like, I'm not with you. I am
I
still
know.
right
and I'm
here.
like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
that used to be me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, you're choosing to check out, I guess,
Yeah. And you're like, you can kind of like notice too, where you're like, oh, this night just went like off the rails for everyone else here, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to be able to wake up, and I'm going to wake up feeling good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is just worth everything. Like the peace of mind and, feeling healthy. Yeah, I wouldn't give that up. So.
Yeah. Can I ask, like, what kind of a drinker you were? Like, were you like, oh, I'm just going to drink every day a little bit? Or like, were you like a binge drinker? Like, what was your thing? Also, what is beeping on me? Something's beeping.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Someone else might be calling.
Oh,
no, but
I
it's
don't
okay.
Beep,
it's okay. I can't tell. Oh, there is. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. So, I mean, in college, I drank a lot, I would say, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I always went hard. And then I would say after the pandemic, I was working from home. I was kind of isolated. You could do whatever you want. And, like the year before I got sober, I was drinking up to like 4 bottles of wine a day. And I was definitely getting drunk, but and, I would be like driving to the liquor store, like crying, like, I don't want to be doing this, but I just felt like I had to. And like, one, I had to like just feel normal. And then two, it's just the like addiction. So, I just think being isolated kind of fueled.
It's not just you.
Fueled the fire.
That is not just you. That is something that was fuel to the fire for a lot of people.
Yes, I know.
So, how far along are you in your sobriety?
20th, 2024 is the day I chose to get help, and so that's a little over 9 months, almost 10 months. Sober.
Oh my God, May 20th. Well, congratulations. 9 months is huge.
Thank you.
I
know.
Please call me on May 20th. And
yes.
I want to talk about 1 year.
Okay.
And I'm going to go figure out, thank you for also being patient while I figure out all this technology stuff.
Well,
congratulations. Way to take care of
yourself.
Thank
you, Nora. Thank
bye.
you. All right. Bye.
Bye. Hello, this is Nora.
Hi, Nora. This is Claire.
Hi. Oh, my God. Okay. Thank you for calling. We've had a lot of technical difficulties, and by we, I mean me, just me alone. I want to set this call up a little bit because this is a big one. This is a big one. Okay, this is a big one.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to deliver, but...
Claire, you better. Okay.
Okay.
This is a
good
threat.
God.
Okay. But, okay. So I mentioned I was in... I was in Charlotte, and then I went to Minneapolis. I was there for a funeral. My Auntie Lou, who was like in her late 90s, I want to say 98. It could have been 95. The point is, good long life. And I've been to many a Catholic funeral as a child. Yeah. That is our social. I mean, I have a huge family. Like, I'm only seeing you at weddings and funerals. And funerals.
I mean, if you don't have a wedding or a funeral once a week, are you even Catholic?
Are you even Catholic?
What are you doing?
The answer is no, you're not. So, so I went to this funeral, and it was at a Catholic church, the same one that my dad was buried at and went to as a child. And, my aunt was, baptized, married, and buried at the same church. Like,
I don't know. That's kind of beautiful.
it's beautiful.
Like, just
It's
get it all.
beautiful.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. And I've sat through so many homilies, and this is no disrespect to anybody out there who is like a Catholic, but like, as you know, it was kind of hard for me to connect with the faith because it would be a guy up there who I was like, I am not following. I am not following, right? I need like some tangible real life examples. I need it to like pull me in a little bit more. You know, I don't need pyrotechnics. I don't need, you know, like a laser light show. I just need a little bit more of like a personal story. So this priest gets up there, and one, I notice he's very good looking. Okay. He is young, he is cute, and then he gives like the homily of a lifetime, right? Like he is up there, he's connected it to my aunt who died. He is connecting it to the Beatitudes, which I had completely forgotten about, even though they're written on the ceiling of this church. And you know, he's like connecting it to like real life, you know, like that we live in a time where we need honesty, and we need, you know, honesty that is righteous, and that is how we pierce the soul, and that's how we know something is like valuable. I was truly on the edge of my seat. And I went, I got communion because they mentioned they have gluten-free wafers. I was like, oh, awesome. And
Gluten-free Jesus.
Yeah. I was like, that's the body of Christ should be gluten-free. Like, where's the gluten? Like,
I think so.
It obviously should be, right? So it was so beautiful. And then he like, you know, came to the lunch, and he had like, you know, like good things to say at the lunch. Like he was just so dialed in. And I was like, I got to get this guy's number. I think that he could like, you know, I was like, I just need to know him. Like, you know, do I think he's in love with me? Yes. That's something that I believe about any person I interact with. But more importantly, I was like, this guy's gonna save the church, right? Like I'm like, my marketing brain is going, I'm like, we got to get this guy out there. We got to get this message out there. The most Minnesota thing is I mentioned this on Instagram. I get a message from my second cousin who says, oh, did you know that he's actually, I dated his brother in high school, so I know him very well. And I was like, of course you do. Of course you do. And then you message me, and what do you say, Claire?
I said, what church?
And I
said, what church? You told me who it was.
And
then I said, oh, yeah, he's a friend of mine. Like, I grew up with him. His sister and I were the same class.
And my jaw dropped, and I said, drop everything. I don't care what you do for work. You're calling.
So here I am.
So So how, without revealing this hot priest identity, because he did not ask for this, what do we know about him? What do we know about him?
Great guy, comes from a big Catholic family, as you do. He's one of 12 kids. Really faithful, devout, wonderful parents. He himself, he's been very open and vocal about this, so I can say he is a cancer survivor, and so he has done a lot of work with people who have had similar diagnoses. My cousin passed away from cancer, and he connected with him a lot. They were about the same age, so this priest is about his late 30s, and had no connection to him other than, like, Claire's cousin, who I went to, so I know Claire, her cousin's sick, I'll connect with her, and then I connected them together. So, like, really goes above and beyond to, like, reach out to people. And he was a chaplain at a big hospital in the Twin Cities for a while. He still might be. But the man is just so kind and gentle. He's funny. He's a real... Funny. Yeah, he's just a real dude. I mean, growing up with 12 kids, like, you got to have something to stand out.
That's true.
And, like, he... just a super fun-loving guy. And I mean, all of the kids are, but especially him, has had some really great roles in the Archdiocese. And I think you're totally right. I think he and a lot of other priests like him could really change the church and could really reach out in a lot of ways, like Pope Francis has, right?
Yeah.
To say, like, let's focus on what's important. Like, let's just bring people to the heart of Jesus, and let's, like, not focus on, like, all of the big, bad, terrible things that you deem terrible, but really look into, like, what's the bread and butter of a relationship with Christ, and let's all work towards that. And I think he does a really good job of making that very tangible, and to do it across ages too.
Yeah.
He's someone who can reach out to young people. He can reach out to older people. And I think he does a really great job of that. And that is the guy that I knew before he was a priest.
I truly was, I was shocked at his age. Like shocked at his age.
Oh yeah.
And also, I mean, he was like he made a couple pop culture references, which was good, but I really was like so impressed by the way he actually mentioned the dead person, because the number of funerals I've been to where the, priest or pastor just is like on autopilot reading,
or they like mispronounce their name, like you said your aunt's name was Lou.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been surprising if they had called her Lee.
Yes.
But no, he made a point to like know her and know of her and know what family thought of her.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sets him and other priests like him apart, is they really try, if they didn't know the person, they try to get to know them through the family and who was close to them and who loved them. And it sounds like he did a great job, which I'm not surprised about at all.
Yeah, I am still always surprised to see a young priest. I wonder so much what it is like, because when I was growing up, right? I mean, like priests were all old, but I mean, we had some like youngish ones, but they were also scary to me. All of them, like they were kind of scary, and I also grew up in a Catholic family where, I mean, the closest you could have to like a celebrity in your family was like having a priest in your family, right? We didn't have a priest in our family, but like it would have been very cool to have a priest in your family. And
yes, they would have been the favorite immediately.
And now I'm like, what is it like to lead a parish now? Is it lonely? Is it all consuming? I as a person who is now like more fully formed than I was as a 10-year-old, where the priest just lived in the house next to the church and the house was kind of scary too. Like,
right. Like the house is like not quite condemned, but like it's not, it's not going to pass inspection.
It's not going to pass inspection. I was just like, it's always dark. I'm like, what's going on in there? Like what's going on in there? And so, I just wonder, especially with all of the many very, very big and very real issues that the Catholic Church has faced in the past few decades.
For
sure. It feels a little bit like running into a burning building.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah. It's like, is that what we're doing? But I mean, I'm really like glad that he's there. Like I like left being glad that someone like that is in a position like that and speaking so much more about love than like the scary stuff. Because truly, it sounds like you grew up Catholic too, right?
I grew up Catholic, and I'm still a practicing Catholic, although it looks very different than what I was raised with.
Yeah, like did anyone ever tell you God loved you when you were younger? Because I was like, God hates me because I'm bad and I've done bad things, and I got to be afraid of him.
I'd say my parents definitely did. Like my home Catholicism was really good. My parents did. And then the priests like that we got that were kind of younger once I was in like junior high and high school would say things like that. And I'm like, I don't know where you got that message. I thought that was just my mom and dad telling me that.
Yeah. You sure?
So like heard it as I was older, but I was like, I don't know if you paid attention in class.
Because do you remember, you probably did like the youth group stuff? Like in middle school?
I did some youth group stuff, but I went to Catholic school. Yeah. So like youth group was like for the kids who went to public school. Oh, but I did some youth group-esque stuff. But they would have like speakers come in, and I'm like, maybe this is just their shtick where they're like, you are a beautiful, like beloved child of God. I'm like, yeah, great. Yeah.
Because I remember.
But then to actually hear that from people, or to hear that from a priest, and to hear them like they're not just regurgitating words, but for them to say it, and I'm like, oh, you believe that, and you are like so desperate for me to believe that too. Wow, that like strikes my soul.
That's it. My soul was struck. Never in my life did I hear a homily that I can remember where the priest was like applying it to like actual life and not just like, every time I heard a homily where someone's reading the Bible, all I could picture was like a dusty desert where the Bible was written. Truly, I was like, man, what is happening? Who are we?
Yeah.
Who's this?
Like perpetual Lent.
Yeah, perpetual
like
Lent all the time. So
Yeah.
I was truly, it really sparked something in me, and I'm so glad that you are here to validate several things. And the first is that this priest is incredibly good looking.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you feel that. To me, he's just, I won't say his name, but like, it's just like so-and-so's brother. It's like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I remember when he was in high school, like, I didn't think he was that big of a deal.
Yeah,
but like,
I guarantee you in high school, this guy did not kill it. Like, I'm sure he had braces.
Yeah.
I'm sure okay, the nerd in me sees the nerd.
If I could remember back that far, I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you a story that like I had with him personally. So I work as a nurse, and I work in labor and delivery. And I had a patient who had to travel from out of state because their baby was not compatible with life. And so they made the really difficult decision to say goodbye to their baby early. And they were Catholic, and there was a priest at the hospital who was, let's say, just less than supportive and not great with his words given the situation. And so they said, we don't want any priest coming in here. We don't want him back. Which very understandable. And then you get me who comes on, who's got a miraculous medal, and I'm like, hi, I'm Claire. And asked, like, do you want a priest to be here? And they said, no, we don't want the priest that was here. We just want like an evangelical, like whoever's coming in. Fine by me. Great. But there's just something in me that I'm like, I totally get where they're coming from, but like as a Catholic, I know how important that is to have like that priest there for like baptism or
rites,
a sacrament, like the sacrament of the sick. And like, do they want that? If they don't, that's fine. But there was just something within me that's like, just try one more time. And so I talked to the partner when they came out of the room, and I said, listen, I know too many priests because of who my mother is and who, like, how involved we were at our church. And I was also a COVID nurse for the archdiocese up here. So I have a lot of contacts for like priests who will come into hospitals. And I said, do you want that? And he's like, well, I don't want anyone upsetting her like last time. I said, for sure. So he went and talked to her, and then he came back out, and he's like, we trust you. You call whoever you need to call. And I said, okay, great. And this priest was my first call because I knew that he would be kind, he would be good, and if he couldn't get there, he would find me someone who would. So I texted him. He texted me back right away. I gave him a call, told him the whole situation, and he said, you, or if it's on the next shift, you call me anytime. I'm there in 20 minutes. She ended up delivering on the next shift. The next nurse called him, and he came and he did the whole shebang for them and stayed with them for a while. And I just remember, like, I gave you no warning. Like, no warning. I called you in the middle of the night, and you said, yeah, sounds great. You just let me know. I'll be there for them. Can you tell me their names again? And that was what was the most important thing to him. And he knew all the circumstances surrounding it. And he knew that what they needed was a healing and a loving and a holy presence. And that's what he brought to them because that's what they needed in that time. And so I will forever be so grateful to him. And he's also my friend's brother. But in my mind, that was like his new identity to me.
Yeah.
Because he was the priest who came when called on.
Oh, I'm going to cry also because like that's exactly what she deserved. And that's exactly what everybody deserves, is not to be met with like, judgment and piety from a man who has never seen the inside of a woman's body. Like to meet that woman with the compassion that she deserves in that moment. Now I'm his biggest fan, and I'm sorry for objectifying a holy little brother in your life.
I mean, he's fine.
Okay.
He was an older brother, so it's probably fine.
Okay, then that's fine. Then that's actually the hierarchy. You're allowed to do that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. If they're younger, it's a little
if you're younger,
weird.
sick. Okay. If the older friend's older brother, that's what it means to be a girl. Okay. You got to have a crush on your friend's older brother. Shout out to Kevin. not
Yeah.
going to say his
See?
last
There
name,
you go.
but my friend's
we
older
won't say
brother,
it.
who I have really had a crush on since I was 10 years old. To this day, I see Kevin, I'm 10 years old again. Like, I'm 10,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
14,
I
and I'm
remember
like,
the
oh,
first
like,
guy I ever had a crush on. And, like, I see him, and I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm, like,
It's
7
so-
all over again.
it's
I am a
so weird.
happily married woman, but I'm like,
Yes.
oh, my gosh, hi.
100%. I don't know what it is. I truly think it's like emotional, physical time travel where you're just like, you see somebody and you're like, "Boop, I'm back in that mode. You're the coolest person I've ever seen," even though plenty of information has come out to the contrary. Like
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
the coolest boy in the world, and I'm a dork, and I just want you to look at me. That's all.
I mean, I have to say, when you did the Happiest Holidays a couple years ago, and whoever brought your
Yes.
like first crush all the way back, I was physically ill on my couch because I put myself where you are, and I imagined my first crush where he was, and I'm like, is someone gonna get her like a throw up bag because I want to throw up? Like
The way I was
I
dripping
am blushing
sweat
for her.
immediately, just
Yeah.
full body sweat. And
I'm sweating right now just thinking about it, honestly.
oh God, I'm glad you brought that up because I thought about that too. I was like, oof, like,
Yeah.
ooh,
True.
yikes. Well, thank you for calling about that. I appreciate you
You're
redoing
so
your entire
welcome.
schedule. I know that you're a nurse and you're very important, but I really needed people to know that I wasn't making this up, that this person is as special spiritually as I found him physically, and that I did not make him
Yeah.
up. He's real, okay? And I will only be personally revealing his archdiocese on a trustworthy basis for people who want to go experience the magic for themselves. But and I might reach out to him and see if he's interested in chatting on the podcast.
Well, I was
sometime.
going to ask, did you get his number? Because I'm happy to connect you to.
I actually do want his number. I meant to get it during the luncheon, but then I got caught up because a funeral is truly the best place to catch up with somebody. The funeral lunch, which also his diocese did his parish did the best funeral lunch I've had. Real good. Real good stuff.
That's some high praise, Nora.
Yeah, real good stuff. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
and like tiny pickles, my favorite kind.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Like fresh
Yeah,
fruit
I
and
will-
good fresh fruit, like ripe fresh fruit, not like honeydew
Yeah.
melon.
No,
Real good
absolutely
stuff.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him and then I'll see what he says, and
Yeah.
then if he
Send him
says,
a
yeah, go
picture,
for it,
ask
I'll
him.
connect you
I'm
guys.
just kidding.
So, do you remember falling in love with this woman during your homily? No? Okay, great. Let me talk to you about it a little more.
Do you remember giving this woman the Eucharist? It was gluten-free. Okay. Was the spark
Don't you
real?
remember
Is all I
everyone?
need to know. But I was not the only person. Like every woman my age, except for my second cousins who like knew him socially, they were like, "This was Fleabag, all over again."
Yes, and I'm probably, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel I'm one of very few practicing Catholics who like got the reference because I've seen Fleabag, and it makes me physically uncomfortable, but my friend almost like locked me down and made me watch it. And so I'm like, all right, I guess so.
Excuse me, sorry.
So, oh, bless you. But yeah, when you said hot priest, I was like, I know a lot of priests in this archdiocese, and I don't know who she's talking about. So I definitely need to know if he's an archdiocesan priest or if he's like Jesuit or something.
Yeah.
But no, he wasn't.
You know what?
That's one of
You
ours.
know how many people were like, "Was he Jesuit?" Like Jesuits have a reputation for being hot, and
Yeah, is it the Jesuits? Because we're very socially inclined with the world.
Yeah, people are like, well, you had to be a Jesuit. I was like, well, we have, like, this is very inside Catholicism. I did not think that my podcast would become this, but here we are. But I was like, no, I don't think
Very
he's
niche.
Jesuit. And it's very niche. But the girls who get it, get it. Claire, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Definitely.
You're so welcome.
Definitely connect me to this man.
Okay.
I just
Sounds good, Nora.
you know, and my mom, like you said, he has cross-generational appeal. My mom was like, oh, he's wonderful. He's wonderful. I have to go back there. I'm like, wow, he's going to be that parish is going to be popping off shortly. So
Great.
yeah,
We love it. We
we
love to hear it.
We absolutely love it. Okay. Thank you so much. And we will talk
You're
again
welcome.
soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nora.
Bye. Okay, I don't know if anybody else is watching, and Hard to hear me. Caller volume is great. That's good to know. Okay, good. Thanks. I just saw that. That was from 12:25. So, see if I can get, is it only when I'm calling that it's hard to hear me? Because it might have been this that it's now picking up on this instead of this. So, and that's why I think I solved it. There's so much for me to learn the hard way. I did figure out how to see the chats, but I don't know if anybody else is there. So if you are, leave a chat so I can see it. And it was better on the second call. Oh, good. Okay. I don't know who's, oh yeah. Thank you for texting me over and over and over. I really do appreciate it. Okay. Now, the next person we're going to hear from is part of the cliffhanger that we experienced last week. I listened to a voicemail last week, and the woman was talking about her husband who died in October 2018. She was giving a
Connecting.
massage, and here we go. This is her. And she discovered that the other woman's husband had also died in October 2018, and then it died. The call died. Like, she ran out. Here we go. Hello, this is Nora.
Hi, this is Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. Okay, I am so glad you called. So glad your schedule aligned. Thank God.
Right? I was like so proud of myself. I had it all set. It was 10 o'clock my time. It's not. It's 2. 4 hours. It's not even close.
I don't know. Like, time zones are truly the worst. So I don't know how they work. And I also kind of like refuse to know. But I do know that I live in a state that doesn't do daylight savings time. And I thought that would make my life easier. And in fact, it has made my life harder to be one of 2 states that neither falls back or springs forward.
That is really funny.
Yeah, I never know.
You
So I always say
the
just Arizona
same.
time, because I don't know if, I don't know what else to say. I'm just like, it's Arizona time. You figure out what that means.
Well, right. And I was telling someone, and they're like, why didn't you just Google it? I'm like, well, I looked at the time and thought I had a big enough brain to figure it out. And it turns out that I do not. I do not.
We simply do not. Okay, so your voicemail cut out at the most insane time. You're giving a woman a massage. You mention, you can just tell some things like happening with her. And you like ask her, and she says, my husband died in October 2018. Then you say, my husband died in October 2018. And then the voicemail cuts off, and I'm truly, I was like, is it the same husband? Are we about to have like a huge reveal? What happens?
So I actually feel kind of bad because it's incredibly anticlimactic. So the whole thing is I work in a spa in a tourist city, so I see different people every single day. We don't have a repeat clientele. So every day I'm not sure who I'm seeing, where they're from, what their story is. It's very interesting. And I noticed one time while doing a couples massage that both of these people had matching tattoos that I could clearly tell that they had lost a child. So I decided myself that next time I saw someone doing a treatment who very clearly had a memorial tattoo, I was going to ask them about their person and give them the opportunity because I'm a longtime fatty. I don't get awkward. I think it's great to be able to talk about your people, and I'd really love to be able to facilitate that for people if it's a thing.
Yeah, and you don't get a tattoo hoping, like, you don't get a tattoo like that hoping no one ever asks you about it.
Exactly. So the first time I have this opportunity, I have this client, and she has a full face portrait on her calf with like forever in our hearts or something of that nature. So I can clearly tell that it's a memorial tattoo. So I'm like kind of humming and hawing, and I'm like, should I ask? Should I not? I'm not sure. Like, I don't want to ruin her massage. She doesn't want to talk about it, but I figure worst case scenario, she doesn't want to talk about it and we move on. No big deal. And so I asked her, and she tells me that it was actually her son that she had lost in 2017. We chatted a little bit about that, and she told me about him. And then I said, it's not the same thing, obviously, but I lost my husband in 2018. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And she says, oh, when? In 2018, because I also lost my husband. And I said, he passed away in October of 2018. And then she said, oh my God, my husband Adam died in October of 2018. And Adam is the name of my husband. So the fact that we both ended up having husbands who died in the same month, in the same year, and this was the first person that I was testing out my, like, let's talk about your person, and I wasn't really certain about it. It was more just like the universe sending me a very clear sign that this is something that I should be doing and I should keep doing, and chatting with people is always better. But no, we didn't have the same husband. It wasn't like some secret identity.
I'm glad to hear that, because that is where my mind went. And I was like, oh no, oh God, no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Because guess what?
That was always the worst. So I followed the Hot Young Widows Club, and there was a couple where it was like, oh, afterwards she found out and she went through his computer, and like that would be the worst. I couldn't imagine that. So nothing like that. Nothing. It was just very incredibly wholesome.
To have the same name and die in the same month and year. And that is a beautiful coincidence. And that is kind of one of those invisible string moments where you're like, wow, the same month of the same year, both of us were experiencing this huge, devastating loss. And the thing about grief is you feel so alone and it feels so lonely. And then little do you know, another woman is feeling the same stuff for a husband with the same name, like wherever she was in the world, which is just always makes me feel like the world is smaller and warmer than I thought it was, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Also about your hot priest.
Yeah.
Did you know that you can buy hot priest calendars in Rome? It is a thing. I was there in 2019. I did not buy one. I regretted it when I went back in 2023. I did buy one. It was the exact same priest. They just changed the year. They're definitely not priests, but I did see a very hot priest in the wild outside of the Vatican, and it made me feel uncomfortable.
I'm going to the Vatican. Okay, I'm going to the Vatican this summer. It's the Jubilee year, and
yes, it
the
is.
last year that I was there was also a Jubilee year.
Oh, so, that's exciting.
Yeah, and I didn't know. I completely forgot. You did mention that you never have repeat clientele. I was married to a man who is like a massage yapper. People would be like, do you want to be in the same room? And I'd say, I don't even want to be in the same vicinity. I will hear him talk the entire time through the wall.
That is funny.
God
I
bless
love
him.
that.
Rest in peace. Just and talking, laughing. And I'm like, I'm there to fall asleep. So what are things like people have revealed to you that you think they probably like wouldn't tell a person that they have to see again?
Oh, it depends. Most of the time, it's really interesting because I do think that people just kind of open up and spill a little bit, knowing that they're never going to see me again.
Yeah.
Like we did a couples massage once where at one point they let us know, we asked if they were going to do any like cross-border shopping because we're a border city, and they were like, no, the girlfriend's like, he can't cross the border. And it turns out he had like a felony charge and had been in like a very big prison here. And then a little bit later, she talked about like wanting to drive home. And he's like, no, you need to blow in your ignition to start it. I'm not letting you drive my car. We're like, these are big things to be telling strangers, people.
Those are really big things to be telling strangers.
Right. I did have a client very recently, like within the last 6 months, who out of nowhere, she lets me know at the beginning she just wants to relax. She is just going to zone out. She's not chatting. She's not anything. She's had a very stressful time. And I said, fantastic, great. And then about 20 minutes in, we have just, our general like little spa music playing. And she asks if I can change the song. And that takes place like up at the front desk. So I said, I don't have the availability to change it unless I leave the room. However, I can just turn it down, whatever. So she can still hear it. And then she's like, well, if I can't not hear it, I might as well tell you why I hate the song. And she had found out that her husband was cheating on her, and that was a song that was playing. But this was happening in real time. Like she had found out like the week prior, had hired a private investigator. Her husband did not yet know that she knew. Like as she's telling me, he doesn't know and she does. So they had flown they were originally from local enough to the area, but had moved away somewhere in the U.S. for work. So she was flying back to visit family, had brought the kids. He was staying there by himself. She had hired a private investigator, and the private investigator let her know that after dropping her off at the airport, he went to a different airport and picked up another girl. So she's like FaceTime. It was wild. She was FaceTiming him, trying to like get him to see who was in the car. And she told me all about this for the entirety of the massage. And I'm like, I don't know what to say. This is terrible. Right?
Oh, God. Yeah. But, honestly, good for her to find out, take matters into her own hands. I will say if you have to hire a private investigator, it is time for
the marriage
divorce.
Is probably not great.
Yeah. Say, the minute you find yourself in a place of should I hire a private investigator, I think you're better off just filing for divorce. Just
Right. But she also, now that she knew they were going to be establishing residency in the U.S., but now that she knew, she was letting him know that she wasn't going to be doing the green card situation, and he was freaking out. So I was one of those, like, I'm like, please come back. Please come back in 6 months and talk to me again.
Yes, yes. Oh, wherever she is, I hope she is okay. And
Right.
I hope she's thriving. I hope he is not. I wish him the worst. And also, I'm proud of her for going to get a massage and being like, I'm going to take care of myself. I just heard horrible news about my family, my marriage, my future is uncertain. I'm getting a massage.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's very, very interesting. I've had a number of, it's just all kinds of random connections where I'm definitely like, okay, you were meant to be put with me in this situation. It's like the universe put us together for this 25 minutes or hour or whatever it is, because for whatever reason, one or both of us needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had situations where nothing happens in the massage, no talking, no anything. And the receptionist will come back after and be like, you released something, because she was just sobbing at the front desk. Like, they've had to send clients off with like boxes of tissues because of how much they've just been crying for whatever had happened, like, during the course of the massage.
Yeah, because I mean, there is you probably know better than all of us that your body's carrying a lot. It's storing a lot. Like, you need to get it out in whatever way that you can. So you're really like in a healing profession, and I can tell that you're very good at it because I already feel better having talked to you.
Why, thank you.
Yeah.
And I haven't even told you the fun stuff about me being haunted by my late husband with candy.
Okay. Yep. Tell me that. Okay. Tell me that. I'm opening up a soda just for this. Okay.
There's no real preamble. So during COVID, I'm in Canada. So COVID was a bit of a bigger deal here. Mm-hmm. And we, because I work in a spa, which is technically healthcare, we were shut down twice for 6 months.
Oof.
So there was a lot of downtime. We got compensated by the government, so it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. But during that time, I was ordering candy from different places online, for like around the world, and then we would smoke all kinds of weed, and then we would eat all this candy, and it was fantastic. Again, Canada, legal, totally cool.
Yep.
And so eventually, there was just little random things that would happen. So one day I went to go to work, and I go to put my my foot into my shoe, and there's jelly beans in it. And I say to my boyfriend, I'm like, did you put jelly beans in my boot? And he's like, I'm sorry, did I do what?
No.
There's jelly beans in my shoe. And he's like, no, I didn't do that. So we don't really know what's going on. And then there also had been like these little peppermint ice cream cone candies that I didn't love. So I hadn't eaten them. I just like put them off on the bag, and they were like sitting on the table. And those were also gone. And we're like, okay, that's really weird. And then like a week later, I make a comment about how, these particular ones, I really like the peach or the peach flavor.
Yeah.
So the next week I go and I get a pair of shoes out of the closet, and there's 2 peach candies sitting like right at the heel of the shoe.
And it's like, not your boyfriend messing with you?
No, and he's terrible. He giggles like a schoolgirl when he's trying to pull a prank on me. He is not slick at all, so it's definitely not him. And so then we're going out somewhere. I want a specific pair of shoes. He goes to get them from the closet because it's like in his office full of his junk, so he moves some stuff. And there's candy in the shoes. We're like, okay, this is getting a little bit bizarre. And then, I don't know if you've ever had mini Starburst, but they're all loose in the bag. They're not wrapped.
They're so good. So much better than a regular Starburst, I have to say.
Absolutely. So there's like a half bag left. And I come home from work, and my boyfriend's like, did you eat those? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, they're gone. I'm like, well, I didn't eat them. And we can't find them anywhere. So at this point, we're both really skeptical of each other, because we're like, you finished the candy and you just don't want to tell me. So another thing during COVID was my boyfriend is very into Lego, and he was buying all of the old Lego sets from the 80s that he wished he had had as a child but didn't. So at one point, something came in the mail, and he's building it all, and it's missing one single piece. So he's irritated, but no big deal. He has more pieces, but because of the way his brain is, he's like, if every single piece is vintage except for this one piece, he's going to know, and it's going to bother him.
Yeah.
So he's like, no big deal. I've got black vintage Lego pieces. I'll just go and get them. So he's got like a Tuppermade bin full of like Lego sets in the bottom, like in their boxes, and then shoe boxes of sorted things. So imagine like probably 6 or 7 side by side, like 2 rows of 6 or 7 side by side, and he moves about 4 of the shoe boxes, and he finds the shoebox that has the black vintage pieces, and he opens it up, and there's all the mini Starburst in the corner.
What is happening?
Yeah. Right? And everyone kept being like, I think it's your cat.
I'm
like, I don't think my cat can
open
do
a
that.
Tupperware? You think my cat?
Right? And then they're like, what about mice? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure mice would just eat the candy instead of just rearranging it in my house.
Yeah, I don't think mice are trying to hide candy in the toe of your boot. I don't think a mouse is trying to open up a Lego container.
Exactly. And then we also I have a nice, fairly sized backyard with like lots of woodland creatures and stuff. So we have peanuts to throw out for the squirrels and the chipmunks. And you would like go put on your jacket and there's a peanut in the coat pocket that's at the front door. Well, the peanuts are at the back door. And then probably about a year and a half after all of this had started, we had adopted a cat. And so I was doing some laundry and just cleaning all of the like throw blankets and stuff that are sitting in the living room because now they're full of cat hair.
Yeah.
And so they're all in the wash. So I go to grab one and I have a stack of towels in like a wooden crate, not towels, blankets, sorry. And there's one specific one that had been bought for my husband. He was sick. I cared for him at home for a year. It's this really soft, like fluffy, nice blanket. And it was at the very bottom. And as I pull it out and go to like unfurl it and like unshake it, all of the mint ice cream candies from a year and a half ago come flying out of the bottom.
I have chills. This is so freaky.
Right? And then a little bit after that, we got a new dishwasher that we had to put in. And you know, like the kick plates along the bottom of, so that we had to pull out. And there was a dime, there was a peanut. And at my work, we used to have these old tip sheets before we changed our payment system where you would get a little just like lined piece of paper that had your name, the date, whatever clients you had, the services, and if they had left a tip or not. So there's one of those. We haven't had this system in easily 5 years. There's one of those folded up behind this kick plate, and I grab it, and I open it up, and the date on it is October 21st, which is my dad's anniversary.
Okay, I love it.
Right?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it all. It's so beautiful haunting.
Exactly. I love it so much. And it's just when I see some and nothing's happened in a while. So like, Adam, send some things. But it's like people are always like, well, how do you feel? And like, it just makes me feel joyful. It brings a big smile to my face. It makes me feel loved and happy. And I'm not one of those people who like feels people's energies.
Unknown caller.
Wait, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? No. Okay. Are you back?
I'm back.
Okay. You're not a person who can feel people's energies, but.
So yeah, I don't feel that. Like some people, you know, they might be more tiring than other people, but they're not like, oh, that energy was bad. It's just not how my brain works.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because my hairdresser comes to my house and we do a trade. I give her a massage. She cuts my hair. And she asked before if I ever do Reiki. And Reiki is a very energy-based massage. And I said, no, it's not how my brain works. It just wouldn't be for me. And she's like, oh, you don't feel energy? And I said, no, not at all. And she goes, that's probably how you can live in this house because the energy in here is intense. I'm like, who said that to someone? But I also live blocks. I live where the Battle of Lundy's Lane that took place during the Battle of 1812 would have happened. Like my house is literally where the battlefield would have been. So I do think it's very haunted in many ways.
Yeah.
I don't think those are the people leaving me candy, but I do think that there is definitely like some spirit type thing.
Yeah, there have to be. There have to be. I think that for most places, but I mean, obviously you are kind of a person who can feel, I think, energy because like a person who can't feel any energy would just see that and be like, they wouldn't even notice. You know what I mean? They'd be like, ew, candy in my shoe. Like they just wouldn't care, you know? They'd be like, ugh, gross. You know, my cat did it or my boyfriend did it. Like it wouldn't. But so I think the fact that it does kind of still like, it rings a bell in you means like you can sense energy. Like you just can't sense
or I'm at least willing.
Yeah. You're open to it.
I'm at least willing. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I maybe don't feel it, but I still believe that it exists.
Yeah. you're kind of like, you're attuned to like not the horrible energy that, probably comes with building or having a house built on the War of 1812. But like we want some energies, and those are the ones that we're going to be like open to receiving. So thank you for making time in your day for this, because I couldn't live without knowing that you were not married to somebody who was also married to another woman. So,
right. I wish it was juicy in some way that like wasn't devastating, but it's not.
I'm so glad it's not. I'm so glad it was just, both of us had husbands with the same name who died the same month. Not like, your husband was also named Adam? Interesting. Okay. What did he look like? Oh, show me a picture. Oh, like
that's what those fishing trips were?
Yeah. What? Nobody likes fishing that much. Okay.
Right?
Except your Adam. He really was fishing. And that's why you didn't have to hire a private investigator.
Right. He really did love fishing, actually. This is funny. He used to go ice fishing because he realized that he could go locally in the wintertime, because we had 3 winters in a row where it was getting to like minus 45 degrees. It was stupid. And he kept asking if I wanted to go ice fishing and if I wanted to go ice fishing. And I kept saying no every single time. And then finally one year he stopped asking. And I said, how come you don't ask me anymore? And he said, because you changed your name, so I couldn't renew your fishing license and it wouldn't give me more lines.
There you go.
Cool, hon. Glad that's why you wanted me there.
Yep. Honestly, it just was going to be slightly less convenient for me, so I let it go.
Exactly.
Smart.
Exactly.
Smart. Okay, well, thank you for sharing your haunting and all of your candy and your dead husband with us. So go give him a massage. Someone's waiting.
Right. Someone's waiting. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Hopefully we have solved all of the technical issues that have plagued us, which I will now be referring to as a haunting and a haunting only. I will leave the phone lines open for a couple more minutes. If anybody else wants to dial in, it's 612-568-4441. I am going to do a little bit more troubleshooting for why the phone number of it all isn't working, but if I can, I guess, do it this way, maybe it doesn't matter as much. So TBD. We will see what we can solve. We do have a voicemail that I can play. So someone, if anyone is watching in the chat, let me know if you can hear this when I press play, which I have not done yet because I have to make the window bigger. Boop. Okay. Still got to make the window bigger. Here we go.
Hi, Nora. I just saw your poll about funeral stories, and I thought I would call in because I definitely have one. So my father passed away in April of 2021, and during this time, or slightly before this time, a few months prior, my husband and I were getting licensed to become foster parents, and we were looking forward to the opportunity of serving children who needed a safe home, and had told my father all about this and my whole family all about this. In early April of 2021, that Friday, it was a Friday, my father had ended up in the hospital, and that same day he ended up in the ICU, and that same day we got a phone call, and that phone call was, would you be willing to not only take one, because we thought we'll start with one, we'll see how that goes, and potentially take more, but we have brothers, and they're 2 under 2, and they have no place to go. Will you take them? They have a safe place for the weekend. Can you take them early next week? We said yes. And what this meant was now my father is in the ICU. A few months prior, he had been diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. So I, ran over to the hospital, and at that same time was trying to coordinate getting another crib, getting another car seat, all of the great things that comes with not only having going to be taking in one child, but now going to be taking in 2. we were able to talk to the foster family that currently had these boys but could not keep them long term, and we did get some pictures. And before my father did go unconscious, I was able to share those pictures with him.
I'm assuming the sound is bad because sometimes people call in and they're in their car. Don't use your car Bluetooth. That's just a little heads up for everybody. Your car Bluetooth is a bad microphone, and so are your AirPods. And I'm on a one-woman crusade against AirPods. So, but this story so far, it never stops astounding me the way that life will just give you life, more life. You know, like your children, your foster children, when you bring them in while other life is waning. There's always that juxtaposition, and it's just really astounding, our human capacity to hold all of these things, like the beauty of being able to be there for children who need a place to go and need people to take care of them, and then also just the horror of, you know, watching your dad die, just everything, always, all at once.
My father ended up passing away on Thursday the following week, so 6 days after he went into the ICU. Wednesday, the day before my father passed away, we got our boys that we have now had for 4 years. So where funeral comes in, when my father passed away, obviously we had to do a funeral for him. And the first time anyone met our children was at my father's funeral. So we had to take these 2 boys, 2 under 2, had been with us for...
Oh my God. It just cuts off. We're going to have another cliffhanger. Oh God. Oh my God. Okay, so I sent her a text because now we have another cliffhanger. Okay, what happens at this funeral? What happens at this funeral? Okay, we've got 2 new foster children, a dead dad, and we've got to go to the funeral, and everything just cut off right there. There is a 3-minute limit on these voicemails, so if you do believe that you ever got cut off, just call back. Just call back and leave a follow-up. But, you know, honestly, sometimes when I'm leaving a voicemail, I'm talking so much and for so long, I don't even know that that somebody has cut me off. So not surprised that happened, but but it did. So hopefully she texts me back right away. Okay. Have a oh my God, I'm gonna ask if I can call her right back. Okay. Okay. She texted me back. We might not have a cliffhanger. We might be able to solve this right now. We might get the rest of the story right now. Okay, I'm going to call her right now, and here we go. Ooh, that's loud.
Hello.
Hi, it's Nora.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so your voicemail literally cut off as, so we bring these 2 boys to the funeral, and it's just, don't. I was like, what happened? For the love of God, tell us what happened.
It was just one of those things. It was 2021, so we were already like
in the weird COVID, don't we do things of COVID? And so it's April, so in Chicago.
Oh, and
You
you
never know what kind of weather you're going to get.
Will it be 75 and sunny, or will it snow 2 feet? We don't know.
We don't know. And the funeral home tells us we have to do it outside because there's going to be too many people. At least have the option to do it outside. So we're outside and have it catered outside. My whole family is there. My dad is one of 7. It's not small.
No.
Full Catholic home.
The theme of today is Catholicism. This is wild.
So, there's quite a few people there. Most did not know that we were even planning to foster or would ever consider having children. My husband and I at that point had been married for 12 years. So I think everyone just assumed we were just going to never have children or never. I had told my mother-in-law I will never biologically have children. So in her mind, she thought, okay, that means they're never having children, not realizing there are multiple other ways to support children and bring children.
No, there's just the one. There's just the one. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So we show up with 2 kids under 2 under 2. My brother had just had his daughter, my niece. She was 6 weeks old. So all of a sudden our family went from having 0 kids to 3 kids, and everyone is like, what is happening? It was very interesting.
I was thinking too, I was saying before I got in touch with you, I was like the juxtaposition of like more life while you're losing life is just always so profound. As I burp into the microphone, it's always so profound. It's always so touching. It's always so bananas.
I know.
You're like, wow, goodbye, Dad. Hello, other life. Here are 2 children who need someone to love them, and my dad, who gave me all this love, is now leaving. And just the visual of you showing your dad these kids before he
we had gotten the call. So we had gotten the call on the Friday, and they said, hey, we need a placement for 2 under 2. They're brothers. Are you willing to take them? And so I called my husband, and I was like, do you want to do this? And we're like, sure, let's do this. Literally the same day, I get the call that my father is being admitted into the ICU. And so I rush over there. I am the, POA. I see him and I tell him, hey, guess what? We're going to be taking in 2 children next week. And I had just spoken to the previous foster parent who was taking care of them and not able to continue to take care of them. And so I had pictures. So I showed my dad the pictures of these boys. And then that night he, was no longer able to communicate. So he did see those pictures. He did communicate that he saw those pictures and was excited for us. Yeah. And then, they came to our house on Wednesday, and then he passed away on Thursday.
Oh, God. That's so much for like a brain to take too. That's so much. That's so much. So now it's been 4 years?
April will be next month will be 4 years.
4 years. Yeah. Okay. Where are the boys now?
Still with us.
What? Like, can you take them for a weekend? You're like, yeah, we got them. Like,
yeah, we got them. They have been with us for 4 years. They are still in foster care, so their case is still ongoing. such as foster care.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have been with us for 4 years.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Well, I'm so glad you were there to like give them a soft and beautiful place to land, even though you were really going through it. Like,
It was
God.
very stressful. My husband jokes all the time, like, that was the most stressful year of our lives. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I feel like that. And I feel like I'm just now starting to process it in therapy.
Uh-huh. Because also when you were in it, it's like you're just in it. There's no there's no like pause, regroup, like we need 2 car seats. We need to call the funeral home. We have to pick out a casket. It's also COVID. You also have like, you know, jobs and life and regular stuff. Like there's no like pause button for you to regroup. And when you're in it, like for me, like when I was like in it, like other people would be like, this is so stressful. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it is.
Yeah. No, this is what I thrive on.
Yes.
Is this.
I thrive at
Yep.
put me in full crisis mode. I am locked in, ready to go. I can handle anything. Put me in the situation I was in 1 hour ago where like the technology I'm using wasn't working properly. I will crumble. Oh, crumble like a sandcastle. I've never been weaker. I cannot handle a minor inconvenience, but I can handle anyone's life falling apart. I'm there.
Right. Yeah. And I had already, like, when we got the call about the boys, I was like, okay. So I'd already talked to my boss. I'm like, I'm going to take a week off. That was all fine. And then I called her. I was like, well, I'm going to take another week bereavement. So I took 2 weeks off.
Oh, wow. Luxury. Luxurious. Oh, wow. 2 whole weeks. Wow. Wow. 2 whole weeks to like acclimate 2 children into your life and also mourn your father. That seems excessive. Yeah. 2 weeks, 14 days. How long is this going to take you? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
We were gonna, like, I was going to wait to put them in daycare. Like, I had called the daycare and they were all registered and everything. I was like, you know what? We're going to spend like a week at home with them, get their doctor's appointments, get them all up to date. And then the day that my dad passed away, I called the daycare. I was like, can they come Monday?
Yeah.
I can't do both right now.
Yeah. We're gonna need to juggle a little bit more because this is not. It's so hard. It's also hard. Well, thank you for answering the phone because
Of course.
I knew that you didn't know it cut off because sometimes people will call back, but when I'm in the zone and I'm leaving a voicemail, I don't know when it stopped recording. I couldn't tell you. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I can tell you. Well, all right. So thank you for sharing that. That was a good funeral story. And, if you check on YouTube, you can hear my hot priest funeral story. It's in its entirety. And I did talk to somebody who knows the hot priest. So people know I'm not making it up. It's real. He's real. He's out there. And there's apparently many. There are apparently many hot new priests. They're everywhere. So that's good to know. That's not how I grew up. All right. Thank you for answering.
My husband went to private school, and his locker mate married his sister, like became a priest, and then married his sister.
Married your brother's sister?
Married
your husband's sister.
sister.
Sorry. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Your husband went to private school. One of his friends who you shared a locker with then became a priest, then fell in love with your sister-in-law and married her.
No, married her as in, like, was the priest that married her.
Oh, that's not as exciting. Okay.
No. But my husband jokes, like, he said a lot of things in high school that a priest should not be saying
but
about
you know
my
what?
sister. And now he's marrying her.
You know what? I actually I want a priest who's got some miles on him. I want a priest who has who knows what it is like to live in this world. And I think that's highly appealing to me. I had, I think every person who grew up Catholic has a little bit of Catholic lore, but my grandma's cousin, stay with me, he was a priest out on the East Coast, and he fell in love with a divorced parishioner.
Okay.
Left the church and married her. It was a huge scandal because she was divorced, even though her ex-husband was abusive, and they lived happily ever after. And I love that story so much. And I just cannot imagine having the allure to lure a man away from God and towards you. I think some women have that and some women don't. And I hate to say it about myself. I don't think I have it. I don't think I have what it takes.
I do not either.
I don't. I could barely get a guy who like expressed some interest in me to go on like a second date with me. I don't think I could lure a guy away from like his higher calling, but some women can, and I bow down to them, truly.
Yeah.
I really do. I really do. Okay, well, thank you. I did not believe that today was going to turn into Catholic chat, but that's where we're at.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
All right. I'm going to call it there. That's going to be it for today on Thanks for Asking. If you are watching on YouTube and you are like Elsterful, I hope I'm reading that username right, who says, why does YouTube never tell me when you're live? Apparently you have to like hit a little button. I think it might be a bell that will like alert you when there's like a new video or there's a new live. I don't know, but I think that might have something to do with it. I will be back here. Live again next Friday, noon Arizona time. Definitely build in 10 to 12 to 17 minutes of me having the camera not work, having the microphone not work. And in the meantime, we do have other videos. I think we put out 2 videos a week. We have the full podcast episodes and the entire back catalog of terrible Thanks for Asking, the original iteration of this show, over on my Substack, which is noraborealis.substack.com. And we are still putting out the occasional episode over on your regular podcast feed, because why not? Life is hard and everybody's out here just kind of doing their best. So the show's a little bit of an experiment. The show's a little bit of a group project. So you can call, text, leave a voicemail whenever. The number is 612-568-4441. The email is thanks@feelingsandco. I'm Nora McInerny, and